Guys, today we'll be talking about the importance of context. Context is huge in everything. Context is extremely, extremely important. Context is like the difference between information and misinformation. If you don't understand the context of something, you might take it completely different, or it could have a completely different impact on you than it's actually intended. Like a story might come to you and it's meant to be inspiring or even funny or tragic, but because you don't understand the context, it might have a different meaning to you. When you understand the context, it might become inspiring to you. And you might even want to be like that person. But if you don't understand the context, you might think this person is just nobody, for example. In some areas of the world, you might hear some people say something like, break a leg. Like, break your leg? That sounds very violent for sure. Yeah, if you don't understand the context. But if you get to understand it, you realize that break a leg actually is something positive. But in another area where they don't get the context, they might think, whoa, are you telling him to go break his leg? You see, if you don't understand the context, it means something else. Unless then you understand that break a leg in some other parts of the world is actually something fun, movie like and theatrical, for example. It might even be the dance, break a leg, when you break a leg, you know that you know the song, yeah. Or it might even mean it actually means something positive to break a leg. That means you should go there and give it your all. It's a form of encouragement. You see, when you get the context. Now we are going to take a look at one of those videos right now where if you don't understand the context, you might completely miss the point of the video. I mean, some of you might already know the video. I'm going to show a video and then I'll explain. I will not even explain. I'll read the context of that video so that everyone can understand it. Now let's get into the video. Now, did you see that video? You see that video? If you look at that video isolated without the context, you might think this is just a werewolf guy that maybe overreacted. In some respects, you could say he overreacted because, I mean, personally, I wouldn't do something like that. But if you understand the context, you might actually get what is actually happening. Now, let's look into and see what's actually happening in that scenario because now this guy looks like he should be in trouble for this stuff, in trouble with the law, to be honest. Now, let's see the context of what actually happened. Okay, to just get the narrative and know how important context is. Now, we're going to read some of the comments of this video, the comments underneath this video, so we can get like the context of what actually happened. Now, the first comment says context is important. Yeah, I can imagine being stuck in a boiling hot train. I guarantee that the other passengers were thankful the way he came out. You see, that already gives us some context. It tells us that they were stuck in a hot train and Network Rail didn't do anything about it. So these were passengers stuck in a hot train, possibly on a summer afternoon, and everyone really wanted to get out. There was a train controller there, which seemed to not do anything about it. Another guy goes, London is like an experiment run by aliens. Do you hear that? London is like an experiment run by aliens. Another guy says, glad people in this comment section are defending the man. The person who posted this clip should have given more context so people know he isn't some what? He isn't some needless vandal or thug. And that comment had over 2K likes and sub comments underneath. So you see, people are starting to understand just from the comment section. They're understanding what happened. And then the third guy says the train was broken down and locked shut for hours. No AC. Over 200 people. The station refused to do literally anything, had zero plans to assist or aid them to get out, and the more or less told them to stuff and deal with it. Can you imagine? Just think about it. Can you imagine being stuck in a hot train for over 2 hours and they tell you to just stuff it, and deal with it. Now you can understand why the guy came out of the train that way, and then he's sweating that way. And you can understand why some of the other passengers probably didn't stop him. Not saying that in London they will stop him, because I've been to London before, and if you're doing something like that, no one will probably stop you. They will just think, okay, he's gonna get in trouble. Now just listen to this comment. I live in London. I use the tube every day. If I was stuck in there for that long, in the heat, you have no idea how hot, horribly hot and humid it is unless you've been in the underground in the middle of the summer. That comment has 2.7 thousand likes. Can you imagine? The next guy goes, human survival instincts kicking. The train was stuck and he was suffocating. It's not always what it seems like. That comment also gets 2,500 likes. So you see, people are starting to understand. The train was hot, they were stuck in there. He did what he had to do. The next guy goes, for the people who don't know, they were stuck in the train and it was hot. But I'm actually thinking though, why don't they have like an emergency release button in case the train is stuck for some reason? You know, they can release it and people can just get out, because this could cause an emergency, and then it'll be something else. I can tell you, I'm glad I wasn't on that train. Mhm. The next one goes, thanks for sharing the context in the comments because it now makes perfect sense. They clearly treated people like animals and he reacted accordingly. Yeah, he reacted accordingly. I mean, there's other ways you could, but yeah, I think it's better. Sometimes to save your life is much better, to be fair, honestly. Then the next comment goes, clearly they made no attempt to get people out of the train. They didn't give a SHIT. By the sweat on the guy, I don't blame him for kicking the window out. There's no emergency exit on the train. Like I just said. But thinking about it, doesn't the London Underground have an emergency exit? And why didn't they use it? I mean, if anyone knows where the emergency exit of the London Underground is, can you drop it in the comment section? Because I'm thinking it should have an emergency exit. I mean, but thinking about it, we were stuck in there for 3 hours. The train was broken down for 3 hours and no one bothered to open any door. So I'm guessing maybe they don't have an emergency exit or emergency release button. If anyone that works in the train station or has been on the London Underground and knows if there's any emergency exits or whatever, can you drop it in the comment section? Because we don't want to make any assumptions here. And this is the last comment I'm going to read now. This one is actually someone that was there. Look at that. I was on the train. We stayed 3 full hours without moving. No air condition, nothing at all. Very, very poor service. And a crying face. So that is someone who was actually on that train. So they were on the train for 3 full hours. Can you imagine being stuck in the underground on a full packed train? The train is broken down. They've made no attempt to open the doors for 3 hours. How will you react? Now, this video was about context, sorry. So you've seen how context can like literally change the meaning of a video. Like if you don't understand the context, you will not know, you will not understand what's actually going on. You think it's just an isolated thing. Maybe you could think this guy was just a violent guy who likes to destroy things and act out of character. But now that we understand context, we know that I do think everyone that was on that train deserves compensation, and we hope that never happens again. I Can you imagine being stuck on a hot train packed with people and the train is broken down and they don't seem to be making an effort to get you guys out and you're in there for 3 hours? Come on, come on.